So I told him, I said, listen, guy, you want a piece of this, you're going to have to talk to my guy, Steve. That's what I told her.
Got him.
I gave him your address and everything, so expect a call from that guy. He was scary. But we're live. Hey, everyone. How's it going? How's it going? What, do you got a Bud Light there? What are you doing? Sunday night?
Yes, I have a Bud Light. It's a Red Bull.
What is
it's
that,
a sugar-free Red Bull.
My God. So you just you went on you just got back from a trip. Where'd you go? Cleveland? Was it?
We went down to Madison. We went out one state over. When people from Minnesota go on vacation, they go on vacation to Wisconsin, which is essentially the exact same thing.
Huh. And that's fun for you guys. You like that. You go over there and you look back over at Minnesota and you say, "Oh, look over there. Hey, look at me over here." Is that what you do?
Only because of the people. Only because of it's otherwise they're very, very, very similar.
Well, that's great. That's great. Hey, is anyone here? Can you hear us? Can you see us? Can you hear us and see us? That's the important part of this, because if you can't, then we won't. Right, Steve?
Well, I think they can hear us and see us. Top Spot's indicating that we are. It's a real who's who of hunks in here.
It's all hunks. That's all we attract.
That's
all we have. Just a bunch of hunks. How many people are in here? 200, 300 people? Hello, everyone. Thank you for stopping by. It's been a long time since we've rock and rolled, Steve. You remember months ago we did this. We did the old Sega. And then a few months before that, we did the old Sony. And now we're back. We got a little Microsoft tonight for everyone. And I think it's going to be a trim. Oh, thank you. He can see and hear both of us. I'm sorry to hear that, but here we are. It's going to be more of a trim episode. We're going to call it a collection diet. This is more of a showcase light.
Is that your way of saying that neither of us collect or buy very many Xbox games, and yet we were contractually obligated to do this episode?
Michelle is a hunk. Michelle, in fact, is a hunk. She just did
confirm
an intense Spartan race, and that's incredible. That's a hunk thing to do. That lady hunk.
That's
stuff.
too much.
That's lady hunk.
That's too much.
It is. You know what though, Steve? Now you're tired because you've had a big trip all the way from another state, right? That probably took days.
Yeah, it was hours of driving. Hours.
Just flat open Midwest. But I ran almost 12 miles today on my feet. 12 miles in one go. Whoop, 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 whoop. Went running.
I drove way more than that. That's not impressive to me.
Well, if you'd run out of gas, maybe you'd have had to do that. But no, so I'm also tired. So that's two excuses we have. We don't collect a lot of Xbox and we're both tired. So if this ends up being a bad stream, that's our excuse. It's not our fault.
Well, you know what? Sometimes in the collection showcases, you got to eat your vegetables. Okay, people, we gave you Sega. We gave you all the good stuff. Yeah. And I know everyone's out there. They're like, you haven't talked to any Nintendo yet. I'm waiting for that Nintendo. I want to see that Nintendo.
7 years for us to finish.
It's going to be probably a two-parter. But if you want to get to the Nintendo, you got to sit through the Xbox. All right? You got to hear us talk about Xbox 360 and pretend like we have anything. Actually, I have one thing to say about Xbox One. I have one thing to discuss. So there's content.
They say you're too loud, and I am assuming it's because of the things you're saying. So I'm going to turn you down.
Yeah, please. Make me quiet.
But no, I enjoy the Xbox. The original Xbox is actually becoming better and better for me as time goes. And some of that is to thank for our friend Musty Hobbit, who's a big, we talked about Thomas Xbox. He's like suspiciously into Xbox that it could be his name, his real name. But, he does the Xboxer briefs on YouTube. Please, if you're out there, go check that out right now. Don't leave this. Keep this going. Open up another window. Go type in Xboxer briefs, Musty Hobbit, and find it. And he's done a great job of highlighting some games that were exclusive to the Xbox that I wasn't previously really aware of, or at least maybe I just didn't want to try them until I was shown them, which happens a lot for that era. So I've been digging the Xbox lately, to be quite honest with you, Steve. I found a lot of really cool treasures in there. Treasures, I
mean, I just like to make fun of it a little bit, but I love all the consoles. I'm that guy. What's your favorite genre of music? Oh, I listen to everything, right? No, I have nothing against the Xbox. I played my Xbox a lot. I was an Xbox 360 guy.
Me too.
During that generation, so no ill will. I just think I'm speaking more to what I perceive the audience wants, which is unfair, probably inaccurate.
Well, and they don't, it's kind of like the Sega. It's kind of like, it's kind of like the N64. It's light on a lot of the RPGs, and I think that is a collector thing. And those games typically cost more. There's fewer of them. They have huge, well, not huge, but they have very cult-esque fan bases, and you don't get that a lot for games that aren't that. So, without further ado, again, thank you everyone. If you're like, okay, this is the Nest Friend guy, I see that guy, but who's the guy over there wearing a banana on his head? That's Steve. And yeah, I called it a banana because it's yellow. I know it's a bandana.
Is it showing up? This bandana, this exact one, I might have folded it differently, or it might have been washed enough times. It literally used to say banana.
Oh.
I don't know why or how, but it had in Sharpie the word banana written on it when I got it.
I'm just happy to hear that you washed them at all, so that's great. But yes, so I don't even know where I was going with. Oh yeah, you're like, who's that guy? Well, he has some baseball card stats down there that you can read, and then also we do the Polykill podcast that comes out every other Tuesday, where we talk. We keep it fun around here, and we keep it fun on there, and so that podcast is all about the beating of these games that we're about to show you. Because we try to get down to the credits. Because I found that there's no other way to find out who made the games unless you beat them, and then you get like a scroll of names, and you're like, oh, that's who did this. And then
in my, like, I don't want to say my younger days, but in a misguided late teens, I'm gonna say, I entered into like a little bit of like I'm gonna be like a high art, I'm gonna be like kind of a snobby guy, and I was like, I'm gonna pay really close attention during all the credits, and I'm gonna start learning like 3D modeler names and stuff like that, and then I'm gonna recognize them from game to game, and I'll be like, oh, any game where Tony Botafuco is doing prop work and 3D modeling,
Tony Botafuco,
primo.
Huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. And I guess you could go follow them on LinkedIn. It's always a strat you could have done.
Yeah, I went the other way, and I just can't memorize anybody's name now. I barely can keep Hideo Kojima in my head.
Hideo? Is that how you say it? Okay, well, let's get into it then, Steve. I have... how do I make this work? I guess it's been a while. I'll jump into your... Did you? Maybe you have to tell me. Did you take video of your Xbox or just pictures, or both?
Xbox and 360, you have a video for if you have it queued up. But
oh yeah, I can get
if
it
not,
big dog. Yeah, I've got it.
Why don't you
here.
get it running? Let me give you the Xbox history, because
all right, you keep talking
people don't
while
want
I
to see
fumble.
the games.
Keep talking while I fumble with stuff.
They want to hear where I came from. So
here we go.
My original Xbox collection. I have 133 games. Most of those are complete. There's a couple that aren't. I'm missing like 5 random manuals.
I have a few random manuals. Hit me up.
I will. Maybe you have one of the 5 that I need. If you've got a Burnout Revenge manual, let's talk.
I think I do.
Oh my god. But yeah, so this was not the first in the 6th gen. The Xbox was, I think, the second of the consoles that I got. PS2 was definitely first, and then I got an Xbox because, I mean, I was squarely in the LAN Halo. It was the system that all of like my high school friends were playing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was, I had like 1 or 2 friends that were playing Dreamcast, but mostly people just wanted to LAN Halo and whatever other games they could muster, play some Soul Calibur 2 and admire that it's in 720p, which was an amazing resolution. But yeah, I've always been a fan. I've never collected my multi-platform games on Xbox, although I do have some on there because I just happened to get them at garage sales or whatever it might be. But yeah, pretty solid collection. I actually feel like the original Xbox is one of the consoles that I'm closest to having everything I want. I think there's like 3 or 4 games left on my wish list that I like really would like to have, and otherwise I haven't really looked into import stuff, but I have most of what I'm looking for, which is a nice feeling.
Well, that's good. And I kind of have the same bit that you do, in that I'm only really going for the Xbox exclusive for the most part. Very rarely will I get anything that's on both, but most of that's just for time saving or space saving. But I'm looking for. Oh, I might have at least one decent one that you don't, but you have pretty much everything else I'd ever want. So good on you. And let's see, I'll let it scroll up here till it completes, and then we can switch over to. Did you send me any pictures of any Xbox games or just that vid? Sorry.
I think just that vid.
Okay. Let's switch over to your face and show us what you have to show us.
All right. So I brought, in terms of my big bangers, I brought my top 5. So I can just go from my 5th most spendy on up.
1 second here, though. I do want to point out that Burger Champ asked if you had that Steel Battalion controller.
Do I? Yes. Do I have it in front of me? No. Let me know how badly you want to see the Steel Battalion controller, because that would require me to stand up.
Well, that's what I'm showing off. You sent me a picture, right? Is that what I'm showing off here?
Oh, did I send you one? Hot
dang. Me a picture. Yeah,
no,
yeah, that's the thing.
Definitely don't have to stand up. There it is.
Stay seated.
That's the Steel Battalion controller.
There you go, Burger Champ. Huh? What do you think about that? You like it? I kind of like it.
You know, funny story about that one. I got that like 5 years ago at a local gaming, like the local retro gamer group's meetup, and I forget what they had on it. It wasn't like, I want to say it's like 100 or 125 or something like that. And I tried to straight trade across my extra, well, we'll talk about this later, but my extra Vectrex that I have. And
everybody's got to have a couple of those.
And the dude didn't want it. He was like, nah, I don't want a Vectrex. And I was like, okay. So I just bought it for cash. And that worked out pretty well, because the Vectrex continues to be a nice piece in my collection. And now I have both.
There you go. All right, now I've switched back to your beautiful banana-covered face. And
all right,
what you got there?
So I feel like people will know my heavy hitters from the video, but I'm going to see if this is complete. Oh, it is complete. Oh, even better. Okay. So you'll love to see it.
Yeah.
My first one here, we've got Call of Cthulhu.
Oh.
Which is, one of them survival horror type games, I think an exclusive on the console.
You're correct.
And it's complete with the old registration card.
No
and if
way.
you look, you can see that in 2016 I bought this game for $40 and I paid in cash.
I'll be gosh darned.
Kind of blurry, but you get the idea. So hey, that seemed to be a pretty good purchase. And I haven't beaten this one, but I have played a good chunk of it. It's pretty cool. It's good spooky season material. I would definitely recommend it for people.
There you go. I was thinking, because I think before we did this back and forth, should I go with my stuff and we do a back and forth show and tell? I think it worked better that way.
Yeah,
so.
I love a back and forth show and tell.
All right, great. Let me fumble to find my stuff, and boom. So, I know it takes you a while before you can see it, Steve, but this is my stuff. So, I guess I'll
I'm waiting.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. My history with the Xbox, kind of like yours. Everybody just wanted to play the land Halo, and I didn't know there were any other games for the system for a long time. I thought that it just played Halo. People just bought a big box to play that game. I was like, that's kind of ridiculous. I'm going to stick to my PS2 with all the other games. But I grew to it. I didn't own it. I had a buddy that had one, and I didn't own one for a long time. It wasn't until like maybe 5 or 6 years ago I picked one up. And so it's a fairly young collection. Maybe longer than 5 or 6 years ago. Honestly, I forgot that how old I am until just now, but it was later. And so it's a very adolescent collection. It's very new to me, and still growing. We got some good stuff in there. I'm pretty proud of a lot of the stuff I have on the Xbox. And that comes.
Yeah, you say that, but this is a good looking collection that I'm seeing video for.
It's fairly nice and curated because I've struck up some deals with our pal Musty Hobbit and given him some that he didn't have because of course he's actively collecting on the Xbox, and so we've kind of gone back and forth with some dupes and whatnot. So it's been a nice collection to build upon. And again, I think there's some very interesting stuff. I was going to give my Xbox stats here because I have it all on an app. Who doesn't if you collect? You have to have all the stats ready to go.
Yep.
So we're dealing with just about 58 games here, just a little shy of 60. So not crazy. Not crazy.
Solid.
But solid. but solid. You know, it's not all about the number; it's about the quality. Sometimes I think we got a good quality there. All right, let me switch over to a full Trav. Now, the reason I stopped you so abruptly and was like, hey, can I show stuff too, was that, interestingly, one of the ones that I brought today was also Call of Cthulhu.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, when did you get this one? Is this a recent pickup?
Yeah, actually, it came from Burger Champ, who's here tonight. And I don't have the receipt for it because, again, Burger Champ bought it. And it didn't come with a registration card, Burger Champ, so... I'm a little disappointed there, I guess. But no, seriously, it was a good pickup, and I picked it up specifically because it's good spooky season material, and this will go on the backlog for Brian and I to play probably 8 years from now when we get around to it, because there's just so many spookers. But I was excited to play it. I'm glad to hear that you said you played it a little bit, and you said it held up pretty well, which is good.
Yeah, it's fun.
Good.
I mean, it feels like a 6th gen game, for better or worse. But I like that kind of thing, and I know you'll like that, actually.
I'm sure I will. I'm sure I will. All right, now you're next.
Is there an official light gun? Asks Hungry Bill. I'm not sure, actually. There are definitely a few light gun games, so I don't know if I don't know what that means. I think maybe just Mad Catz did one, but. That's me speculating. I'm not trying to put rumors out on the internet. Tell you one thing that's not a rumor. My 4th game.
Oh, I should show you. I think I'm showing me. Hold on. Let me go to full Steve. There he is.
Boom.
Whoa,
there he is.
Whoa.
We got the old Jurassic Park Operation Genesis. One of the more collectible boys for the console. Very true. But this one's a sad boy, but it's also a happy boy. You'll note that this is one that has no manual. And for anyone that's never played this is like a park building sim, so like a roller coaster tycoon, but for Jurassic Park. It's actually pretty good and pretty fun. But no manual on this one, but that's because this was one of the earliest like good thrift finds that I had. I got this puppy for $2.
Whoa, that's
many years ago. It is, and I was quite pumped to find it, and I have, despite getting it probably 8 years ago at this point, maybe less, I have still never tracked down a manual for it because I don't want to pay for a manual for an expensive game at this point. But even without the manual, it still continues to be one of my rarer and more sought after games. And again, a pretty good one. I wouldn't have kept it if it wasn't fun. So I did enjoy it.
Yeah. That's good to hear, and I again, that's a game that I only know is a good licensed game. Well, semi-licensed, not really based directly on the movie, but certainly the property was because of Musty Hobbit's Xbox Briefs. That was one of the ones that he covered, and I was like, wow, this looks actually really good and funny too, like kind of cheesy in the way that a lot of little cutscenes work out, which is great. Here's a game that I just wanted to show it because I played it recently, also based on a. Let me switch over to me, full Trav. The Thing. I just played it not too long ago, and I felt bad. It was during COVID, so I couldn't link up with Brian to play it. But after I finished it, he was like, "Oh, I thought we would." I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, buddy, COVID and stuff." But it was great. It was really good, and it is supposed to be the actual, endorsed sequel of the movie. And that's really interesting. I don't know. I don't think it really holds up well narrative-wise for a sequel to the movie, but it did pick up where the movie left off and took it places. But it was a lot of fun. It was really interesting the ways that you could, infiltrate the thing, and it was kind of challenging. It was pretty good. Looked pretty good. A lot of fighting around on the snow and stuff like that. So definitely a recommended play. And I don't think it's too pricey these days. I'm not really sure, but it's pretty good.
No, it. For the longest time, that was a very cheap game. It was like a $5 game. But at some point, people realized that it's a horror game. And so it went up to like $25, $30 maybe. And I think it's roughly the same price on PS2 and Xbox. It might be a little more expensive on PS2, but yeah, it's a fun one.
Yeah, and that's true. It's not exclusive. I forgot to point that out, but it is good.
Alrighty. Well, if you want to give me some full screen Steve, I'll give you my number 3.
Sure. Go full Steve.
Do I have a manual? I do. So my number 3, and this one is one of them. It's a creeper. Okay, when I got this game, it was not like particularly sought after or rare or expensive. And now people really want this one. I don't really know why, but it's Def Jam Fight for New York.
That's what I want. It's a time capsule.
I have not played this, and I thrifted it. I got it a long time ago, and it was not really expensive, but I had heard that it was like kind of fun. I know that people like the Def Jam games, but this one inexplicably is just like, people really want this, especially on other consoles, but even on Xbox, it's like $70-$80, I think. So
yeah,
I
don't know.
It just sat there forever, and then when I was looking up this list, I was like, oh, I guess Def Jam is one of my biggest games. Okay.
Can you see from the back, does it have LAN support or anything like that? Because I know it's a fun party game. We've gotten some guys together and just played on like
it says no system link, no HD. It's just players 1 to 4. You get that in-game Dolby Digital though.
Well, I mean, you can't have everything, but that we have played it in a party at a party before, and it was a ton of fun, hilarious fun. And yes, Top Spot, I did finish the thing. I did finish that. But no, that's a good one. I really want that one I'm actively looking for. Let's see here. I'm trying to figure. I don't know what order these go specifically in terms of value and rarity, but one of the ones that I picked up recently that I'm proud to have and haven't played yet is, let me switch over to some full trav, Panzer Dragoon Orta, because I love the Panzer Dragoon series. And
love that game. That was, other than LAN Halo, that was the game that got me to buy an original Xbox. I used to play that game so much. Loved it.
I have never put this in my Xbox. This is a pretty recent acquisition for me, so I have a lot to look forward to. That's great. But, I just picked up, I have the full Panzer Dragoon set on Saturn. I figured, why not? Let's just get them all at that point. Once you got the big Saturn dog, you might as well get all the pups too, right? So that's what we're doing. So I'm looking forward to it. So you think it's one of your favorite games on the system then?
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Great.
It's my favorite Panzer Dragoon game. I definitely can't pull it out, but I have a like statue, like a cast statue of that character riding the dragon.
Oh, and you can't pull that out, you said? Huh. Well, that's disappointing.
It's huge.
Well, blah, 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 blah. That's what she said. Okay. Take a swig of your Bud Light there, and let's move on to whatever else you got.
Hey there, Drachma. How's it going?
Hey, Drachma. Hello, everyone. Right. By the way, I see folks are in there hanging out, chatting around.
My number 2 is another creeper. A lot of my Xbox games are creepers. I haven't sought after a lot of like the big boys on Xbox. I don't know why, but one of the first games that I was really into on the original Xbox, right around the time I was playing Panzer Dragoon Orta, actually, was Otogi, which is like a From Software hack and slash kind of game. A friend of mine had it. I used to go play it at his house all the time. He had an older brother who had like pretty obscure kind of weird taste, and so I ended up like by osmosis through his brother, finding some of these more off the beaten path games back when the system was still like active. But because I loved the first Otogi so much, while I still could in like GameStop or EB at the time, I went and tracked down Otogi 2, which I played a lot less than the first one. I have played through it, and it is fun, but I would recommend both of these games. If you've never played either of those games, they're pretty good. Oh, I know. Isn't that pretty?
Yeah, keep that cover up there. That looks cool.
A dominantly yellow game. Like,
the color palette of the game itself is really yellow? Or just the cover?
Yeah.
Really?
Just not common.
Oh, that's strange. Okay. Interesting.
But yeah, very fun game. Very cool.
Huh.
And we are, of course, complete on that one, too.
Well, you gotta love that. Huh. Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of complete, the next one I'm going to show here is not. And I'm sad about that, and that's Silent Hill 4 The Room. The old room here. Yeah. This also could have been one I bought from Burger Champ. I don't know. It's been a blur of purchases from Burger Champ, and some of them were Silent Hill games. I don't know. But, honestly, if it came from him, it probably would have had the manual, so I don't know where I found this. But I would love to have the manual to complete this, because it is, all the Silent Hill games are fetching a pretty penny these days. And this is one, I didn't play it on the Xbox, but I did play, I want to say I played a demo of this on the PS2 way, way back in the day, where you're just in the room itself, where the game starts. And I enjoyed that so much. The room itself, that was around the time that the little getting out of the room puzzles were at peak, and they crammed one in here. I really don't know which came first. I assume Silent Hill picked up on the craze, but I enjoyed getting out. When I got out of the room, I was like, oh no, like a real game. And at the time, I didn't want to play it anymore. I was like, ooh, I want to do more room puzzles. That's where I was. But just played through Silent Hill 2 and 3 not long ago. So this is coming up. But yeah, these are getting hard to find.
Yeah, very much so. That's a good one. I agree. My favorite part of that game is the room sections themselves, and that's a dang good one.
All right, what's you got another one to show us here, buddy?
I got one left, and I think you know what it is. You saw the photo, but you need to see the game. We got our Steel Battalion. This is the biggest boy that I have.
Yeah.
So.
Now, I mean, the controller itself fetches a pretty buck, and is real just difficult to find. But oh no, Manuel, that is sad to see. But you know, you get what you can. But what would you say the disc is going for? I didn't know that was also pricey.
I mean, it's hard to find it decoupled from the console itself, but maybe that wouldn't be like by price alone. But you're gonna want it with the controller, and with the controller, it's easily my most expensive Xbox game. It's not even close compared to the other ones, and it's actually pretty fun. I've played it a little bit, and I have messed around. I'm not good at it. I think someday that will be a good stream. I will hook up that monster of a controller, and we'll do a Steel Battalion stream and see if we can't knock out some credits on that. Be the first human alive to ever beat Steel Battalion.
We have to get some cameras on your feet. We have to see what the feet are up to throughout. So you'll have to have, some cameras on the controls, some cameras on the feet.
I've got another website for that if you want to see the cameras that are on my feet.
It's called Only Steel, and it's pretty good. All right, so my next one here is certainly the most expensive one in my catalog, but thankfully I picked it up before it went crazy, and that's Obscure. And maybe you would say it's somewhat of an obscure spook title, although I don't have the sequel. But you can tell when I bought this, it was $30, and it's not that anymore. It's a different price now. But it does have the manual, and I'll tell you what, you can't beat a game that features music by Sum 41. You just can't. You
really can't.
There's no shortage of games that featured Sum 41, I'm sure. But this is one that I've been begging Brian, let's bump it up the list. Let's play it pretty soon, because really I'm just excited to play it. Like, the back of it, I mean, it's a gore fest back there, man. I can't do camera stuff. Look at all that. It's pretty spooky. You got a bloody desk. That's ooh, what's going on there? We got what's going on there? So, yeah, looking forward to that one.
No, that one's awesome. That's one of the ones that I would actively like to have. That shot up to being that's one of the jewels of the library. I think that is one of the spendiest ones that you can get on that whole console. So that's a good
we got
good snag.
Yeah, I forgot. Let me see. Do I have it's got the manual too. So yeah, it is a good snag. It's just one of those that you just kind of nest in the collection, and then it blossoms, and you don't have to buy it when it's really expensive. I like when that happens. You ever look at a game that you kind of, because once you kind of have it in the collection, you don't really track its value anymore. At least I don't. Once I have it, I'm like, there you are, you pretty little thing. Now you're mine. And then sometimes 5 years goes by, and I look at the price of it, and I say, wowie, wow. What happened there? Oh, man. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, that happens to me in equal parts where I have them in the collection, and then I happen to come across a price later, and I'm like, whew, well, I'm sure glad I didn't pay that. But then for every one of those, there's another game that I put off buying and now has reached that crazy price, and now I have to make the decision of whether or not I'm ever willing to pay that.
Yeah, I hear you there. All right, well, hello, Pam. Now Pam is here.
Oh, hi, Pam.
We can officially get started. No.
All right, we can switch to our big box PC adventure games. No more Xbox.
Oh, I own none of those. I wish I did, though. I like, what did you do? What did you find in the floor? What are you eating? Put that down. What is that?
Don't tell me to put it down. It's a little pizza.
Oh, you got a little pizza.
Little pizza delivery.
That's cool. When did that slide in? Did I miss it?
It's during Obscure. All right.
Is there a door?
Pretty suave.
Is there a door in that direction where the pizza is?
I just pulled it. I pulled my pizza chain. It's right off camera, right over here.
No way. You got a pizza
chain. pizza falls from the ceiling, and you're good. I don't know why I didn't think to pull it before the show.
I always thought the door to the room that you're in was behind you and to the right of what I see. Like, technically behind you and to your left.
That way?
I thought the door was over there. For over a year.
That's where the people door is. The pizza door is up there.
Okay. Huh. I'll have to get a pizza dumbwaiter then and put that on my list. List. All right, well, let's get into the 360 catalog, shall we? I gotta tell you, I don't have a lot there that's like, blow your doors off good. I have two. I brought 2 games to show, but we can show off the vids and pictures. So, and I don't have the list. I realized before I did a really good job of detailing what you brought in terms of video and pics, and then I could switch to them. Didn't do that this time. So, video, is that what I'm showing of you?
There is a video for some 360 games if people want to see the full collection.
Whip it out then. There it is, folks.
Top Spot gets it. You do need a pizza chain to be an adult.
I gotta get one.
All right, so overview of the Xbox 360 collection, which kind of feels weird to call it a collection because I've never actively collected for it. This is just sort of what I amassed over time. Although that's true of a lot of my systems. So
yeah, I
have a very similar amount to the original Xbox. I have 131 games.
Oh,
all of them I believe are complete. I might be lying to you, but I think they're all complete. Never Before Seen asks if I have Sonic 06. Spoilers for the S section, buddy. You're about to see some Sonic 06. Yes, Eventual would never bring me pizza. It's the pizza chain only. But yeah, I have 131. They're pretty much all complete, and this was my primary system during the 7th gen. So I got one standing out in the freezing cold. In fact, it was funny. I never actually planned on buying one on launch day. I wasn't at this time, I wasn't tuned into video games so intensely that I was like a day one console buyer. But it was the night before, it was like November something, 2005, whenever the 360 came out. A friend of mine called me and he's like, hey, I'm going to go stand in line at Best Buy and get a 360. Do you want to come hang out with me so that I'm not alone? And it wasn't a midnight release or anything. They were opening at 8 the next morning. And so I just was like, sure. He came, he picked me up. I hopped in his car. No planning at all. It's it's a November winter day in Minnesota. And I grabbed my coat, but no gloves, no hat, nothing. And at 10 at night, we went and stood in line at Best Buy. And I just froze every part of me to icy stone. But in the morning, I did manage to get one. And then I promptly brought it home. And it red ringed after 24 hours.
Oh.
And then I went through the at this point, it's nostalgic. It's like a rite of passage. I went through that classic 3 Xbox RMA cycle. You get one, it red rings after a few days, you send it back. You get one, red rings, you send it back. But I finally landed on one. I finally got one. And then I was all about the 360 for this era. It's where I bought my multiplats. It's, I would say, where I did 80% of my AAA gaming. For a long time, I was a big achievement guy. I got real into that, and yeah, it's been my jam the whole time. So
that's interesting. I would have thought that you were just a PlayStation guy through and through. I didn't realize that you skipped over to the dark side there for a little while. Interesting.
At the tail end of that gen, I switched to PlayStation. But a lot of people, I think, during that gen early on started 360 because the PS3 had a real slow ramp up, and then it just suddenly started going hard. But I said that I red ringed and I RMA'd a bunch of them. But here you go. This is the 4th Xbox 360 that I ever got.
The 4th one.
The original fat model that I've had this entire time. You can tell it's an original one because it doesn't even have an HDMI port.
Oh my god!
You can only hook up component cables. It's got that classic Death Smiles faceplate.
Oh,
and this thing held strong until literally 2 months ago, and it finally died on me. So I finally need to replace it. But I've been rocking a base model 360 for the last 15 years, and it only just died.
Wow, wait. Are those memory cards?
Yeah, so if you didn't know, the Xbox had memory cards. It
I
doesn't feel
forgot if I
necessary
knew.
because it's got hard drives. But here's
forgot
the
all
Pro
about
Strat, and this was for my achievement people. So you remember Xbox was the first console to have profiles. They're like this weird proprietary format. And if you wanted to go to your friend's house, it wasn't like it is now where you could just log in easily. Your profile was like tethered to your console in a weird way. And so if you wanted to play on your profile at a friend's house, say, for example, if you were achievement hunting on a game that they had, you had to go through this process of like recovering the profile and like re-downloading a bunch of data and essentially reassociating it to their Xbox. And then when you got home, you'd have to do it in reverse. And the only way that I knew you could get around that was if you saved your profile to a memory card, then you could just pull it out and plug it into someone else's 360, and you'd be able to play their games and like track achievements on your account and stuff too, without them ever being overwritten, which was like a big thing.
You know, you're reminding me that we did that with USB when that eventually caught on. But yeah, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Good job. Well, I guess we'll switch over to what I got going on.
I really like Abandoned Witched Halloween Retro Gaming saying, apparently Death Smiles is one of my favorite shmups. I like that you're learning this in real time.
Yeah, we did ask earlier if you had beaten it or finished it. Have you done that? You apparently like it.
I think I beat Death Smiles, but in like the way that you beat is shoot 'em up by just pumping credits into it. I haven't gotten skilled at it in any way. But I have gone through it. I love that game. I mean, you're going to get to that first, the first or second level, and you're going to shoot that big, like, floating cow head, and you're going to be in love. It's just how it's going to be.
I'll have to play that myself someday and figure it out. Here are my 360s, and I think we had somewhat of a similar 360 history, just in that I did start with the PS3 first for a little bit, and I had the grand piano. And that went kaput 3 or 4 times, and then I switched to the Xbox 360 right around 2009, 2010. And that's where a bulk of my gaming for that generation came from. So this is another one of those that I don't really actively collect for the 360 at all. But these were all the games that I bought and played while I owned it. And so most of the games that I own, I did finish, which is very unique for most of the systems that I own and collect for. But yeah, it's a great system. It was a good one for me socially because we have some friends that threw some parties around the 360, landing about 10 of them up and playing the gears and stuff like that, and that really kicked it into high gear for me. So I'm a huge fan of the 360 and still play it quite a bit. Yeah. There you go. Oh, I forgot. I have 59. So just about as many 59? As I have for the Xbox, yeah. Consistency.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Is there anything on the 360 library that you're actively seeking out right now that you want to get?
Oh, man. That's a good question. There are a few games that, I'll be honest with you, there are a few games that I own that aren't shown here because I've lent them out. So there are a few, there's like a Far Cry game in there that's been lent out. Maybe a Bolivian or something as well. But there's a small handful that aren't represented here. But I don't know. I might just want to get like the first Mass Effect to round out some of the series that I have because I borrowed that one to finish it, stuff like that. But there's really nothing like I'm itching to get on the basis of just adding it to the collection or anything like that. All right, so let's zip over to Steve. He's about to whip something out. I could feel it. What you got there, Steve?
Okay, so I don't know how many games you have to show. How many do you have?
Oh, just 2.
Okay. So I'm going to categorize all but 2 of mine into the same banner. And we were already talking about it. This is perfect.
Okay.
So I was surprised in looking at the 360 library and the 360 collection. Most 360 games are pretty dang affordable still. Yeah. Like, even the high end isn't that high. There's almost no games on the 360 that cost more than their retail price. So, I mean, now's the time. It's been that way for the last 15 years, but collect them. But the ones that do hold their value, it seems, are the shoot 'em ups. So I don't have Death Smiles in the stack, but I've got actually a pretty healthy shoot 'em up collection on the 360. We've got first up the imports, and I don't remember all of their names. So there's Dodonpachi Resurrection. This is a PAL import.
Oh.
A lot of these are cave shooters you're going to find. So if you look on the back there's the cave logo.
Oh, I see. You
We've
mean
got,
the company.
Mushihime-sama. This is Bug Princess. This is available on like iPad and stuff too. You can play that one. Got, I think this one's called Bullet Soul Infinite Burst.
Oh.
I haven't played this one yet because it was a gift.
Wait, you haven't played it because it was a gift. So if someone gifts you something, you don't play it. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I just haven't gotten around to it yet because I didn't buy it with intent to play it right away.
Oh, I see.
We got Dodonpachi Saidoju.
You said that right for sure.
It's Sai-Dai Oju. I left out one of the syllables there.
Just about to call you out too.
Mm-hmm. And then we've got the American shoot 'em ups. We've got Akai Katana, which is a pretty fun one. Again, a cave game. Ah. Got Ryden 4.
Well, that one's one I've heard of.
Mm-hmm. And then Ryden Fighters Aces. All good shoot 'em ups.
Look at you.
So the system's good for that type of thing. Fun fact about these ones, if you didn't know, and the reason that I have them, like these import ones, the 360 is not region free. It is region locked, but the cave shoot 'em ups on 360, these ones that I have and a few others, are region free. So the region locking is at the software level, not at the hardware level. And so there's a small handful of games that can be played on any region console, including these shoot 'em ups. So, 3 of these were Japanese imports. One of them was a PAL import, and they all run fine on a US 360.
Very cool. Interesting. Yeah, I guess I didn't know that the 360 was a big shoot 'em up console. I didn't even realize there were 360 ports. How dumb am I? I didn't realize there was a ton of that stuff. A lot more than I would have expected. Interesting. All right. Well, let's.
What do you got?
Not much. The first thing I'm going to show is just something that is just strange for me to have in my collection because I only played it because it was on the Cartridge Club. It was Cartridge Club Game of the Month for a February way back when, and as you would imagine, this would fit perfectly in the month of love. That's Catherine, of course, made by Atlas. And I didn't really know what I was getting myself into at all. And then I played it and realized I was getting myself into a very frustrating predicament because this game is tough and aggravating. And it does have some neat social sim parts to it, but like I just think it's interesting in my collection because my 360 collection is very much motivated by my friends and people who played. Yeah, I played a lot of the same games that my friends did. So you see like the Mass Effects and the Gears and the Halos and the footballs and all the Call of Duties and all the bros. Nothing out of the box. Nothing out of the box. This is a little bit out of the box. A little bit different. So if I had died only owning this 360 collection, this would have been a very curious piece for people piecing my life together. They would have been like, what was going on here? What was this all about?
Trying to understand your life story? Yeah.
They're like, something happened here. But no, it's an interesting game. I won't call it all bad. It's certainly interesting. It's an Atlas game, so as you can imagine, but weird. Now, would you want to...
I'm going to warn you. You can't call it bad. I love Catherine, but more than that,
buddy,
Sprite, or Eventual Nits in the chat here,
loves it.
Massive Catherine fan. She did a top 10 games of all time a couple years ago, and Catherine was not number 1, but it was high. It
was high. Well, what I had to do, because my enjoyment, or I guess my lack of enjoyment, came from some of the puzzles. I was trying to fit it in a month too. If I had all the time in the world, maybe, but I just toned down the difficulty, got through it, enjoyed it way more. So I'm just not good at it. Here is my most rare / pricey game. It's this one. And let me tell you, when I bought it, I didn't see that coming. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just a football game. I bought this, 2013. I said, hey, I got to get this again because I got them every year. It's the last one they made. And the interesting thing about this is that I made the subreddit for this franchise like in 2013.
Really?
Yeah. I started that subreddit, and then it grew past me. I was like, okay. And then I handed it off to other people. But that's got my DNA in it, that old subreddit there. All because of this game. And then obviously it blew up because they didn't make anymore, and so everyone still tries to get this one, and they found ways to mod it, and you can do all kinds of crazy stuff with it now. It's well beyond my capacity, but I still can fire this up from time to time and play it. In fact, I'm betting it's not even in here. I bet it's in It's in my 360. So
that's the last one you played.
yeah, it really is. Yeah. So and who would have thought? Who would have thought? I don't even lend that one out. My nephew came to me and he was like, "Man, I really want to play a college football game. Can I borrow 14?" I'm like, "No, you can't have that one. No, it'll get stolen amongst your dude bros. You cannot have. Sorry." So
yeah, I wouldn't do it either.
Yeah, who would have thought though? Who would have thought most? I don't know if it is the most pricey one on the console. I doubt it. Something probably beats it out, but it is up there. It is going for about 100. So.
I mean, if you're not counting weird variations and stuff, like, collector's editions that shot up in price, like I know there's a BioShock one that's really expensive and a couple others, I think that it is one of the more expensive games on the console.
Yeah, it's weird. I guess it's not weird, but at the time, if you'd have told me, like one day this game, it's going to be an investment. It's not really, but it's going to be worth more than all the other beloved games on the system, I wouldn't have believed it. Who would have?
There's a lot of love for that one in the chat too. A lot of people are either wanting it or
I will say
appreciating that game.
On top of it being the last one that they made, it was also the best one that they made. Sports games don't really always go in the latest is best mold. That's why a lot of people still have an affinity for like NHL 94. They're like, that's the best one. It's like all the players are dead. But that was actually a really good game. I think it was maybe it eclipsed Madden around that time for being just a better football simulation.
Wow.
And then they just... lawsuits, man. What are you going to do? But anyway, that's our 360
stuff.
What are you
going to do?
What are you going to do? What you asked me, would there be anything that I would add to my 360 collection? I'm curious for you. Is there anything that you're actively searching for?
There are a few things, yeah. So I'm trying to, while it's still affordable, clean up on that good jank. So a lot of what I want is just like the weird, like reviewed very poorly, but I think I might enjoy it type of stuff that's still out there. So Ninja Blade is what I'm looking for. It's also, I think, a From Software one. Blades of Time is like a janky character action game. There's a janky third-person shooter called Never Dead that I want. So just like the type of stuff that was no one talked about at the time. It scored very poorly, but it's all kind of potentially right in my wheelhouse that I just have never gotten around to getting. And every time I see a copy, it's either like $5 more expensive than I want to pay, or it's missing a manual, or it's sun-faded, and I've just never locked in grabbing those. But there is still some stuff on the 360 I'm seeking out.
All right. Well, what do you say we move into the Xbox One while we're at it then? We got a lot of momentum here, and neither of us have a ton of games here, so this should go by pretty quick, I think. So let me switch on over to that right there. There's your picture of your games. Not a ton, but I think it's a pretty good collection. I'll say that's pretty strong.
Honestly, not too bad. I would say Xbox One. Well, first I should give you the raw stats here. I mean, you can count them yourself.
Hold on,
but I have 15 games.
15 games. I was about to say 15.
They're all complete. I mean, for whatever that means on Xbox One, that means that they all have a disc inside the case, right?
Do they all have like one little piece of paper that has a code on it or something?
Yeah, or it says like the manual is on the internet. You can look at it on the internet.
Yeah.
But I would say, I hate to admit it. I hope, Musty, if you're out there, Xbox or Briefs, my friend, plug your ears. I'm sorry to say this, but I think the Xbox One is far and away the least played console for me ever of any console I've owned, including like maybe more than like the new one, or
I was going to
maybe
say
like the Tapwave, but like it would still be kind of close, and it's just not. There hasn't been not a lot of time put in. It would probably be double digits amount of time. I've basically, of the picture you're looking at here, I played both Ori games on the Xbox. I played Super Lucky Tale when it came out. Okay, actually, that is only true if you discredit all the time spent playing Rock Band 4. If you include Rock Band 4 in that mix, I suddenly have played way more Xbox One.
Yeah.
And it's through no fault of Xbox. Like, Game Pass is very good.
Game Pass is great.
And it just happens that PS4 was my go-to console because whatever like dopamine triggers in my brain for trophy sounds is what makes me play stuff on PlayStation rather than Xbox. But
yeah,
I have played a grip of Rock Band 4 on Xbox One now that I think about it.
Yeah.
The other problem for me is that I didn't get an Xbox One right away. I didn't get one until like a year and a half after the system came out, maybe 2 years actually. And I still have the old flat VCR one, like the original model. And not everything runs so good on that original Xbox One. And then by the time I was thinking about upgrading to a One X, then the Series X was in discussions. And since I don't play it that much as it is, I didn't feel like it was worth the cost to upgrade. It's a problem of my own making. I love all systems. The Xbox One is great.
You're not going to hurt their feelings. You can say you'd like something more. It's fine. It's okay. They can't hear you.
I would say I have a preference to PS4.
Well, interesting. I brought all of the games that I own physically for the Xbox One here today. I'll go through them quickly, because really, who cares? We have Red Dead Redemption 2. It's not even exclusive, but I played a shit ton of that. Far Cry 5, which is funny. There's a reason that's in this little envelope. I have the case for it, but I meant to lend it to a friend, and I gave him the case, and he took it, and the game wasn't in there, and we just never righted that. So he has an empty case, and I have an envelope with Far Cry 5 in it. So never borrow games from me. I'm not good at it. Rare Replay, that's a pretty good one.
That is a good one.
That's a good one.
I've played some of that.
You gotta have it. And I just picked this up, Control. Just picked that up from Brian. He just handed it to me on the way out of the door one day and was like, you should play this. I already have it on some other, I guess the Xbox SX or something like that. So I said, oh, cool, thank you. I'll take that. So that's it. And I'm kind of with you. The Game Pass, I play most of my games digitally on the Xbox One, which is why I don't have a lot of physical representation of them. That's one thing. I got an Xbox One like around the time it came out, maybe a year and a half after, but I still consider that around the time. And so I still have that OG Xbox One. It does sound like a small helicopter or maybe a drone trying to leave. Yeah. And I use it every day for HBO Max. It's a great TV.
There you go.
It's great for that. I use it for that primarily. But lately, I have been more into playing PS4 games. They've spoken to me more. The Ghost of Tsushima was great. I'm looking forward to Death Stranding. Spider-Man knocked it out of the park. There's just been a lot more experiences that I think fit me personally than a lot of the multiplayer stuff on Xbox One. I'm not much of a multiplayer guy, but I do enjoy the Oris. And Sea of Thieves was a fun 4 days I was into that. So yeah.
Ori is dang good.
Ori is dang good. And it's coming to the Switch.
What I'm hearing is that you hate the Xbox One. You think it's awful.
No, I had a relationship, and then we broke up, and I moved on to the PS4, and it's fine. I think it's fine. I don't have an Xbox Snickety X or whatever it is. I don't have a new one.
I just played my Xbox One not long ago. That's where I played 12 minutes. And actually, I plan on playing it again before the end of the year because I want to play Sable on Game Pass. I'm just waiting I know they just patched it. I'm waiting for them to say, hey, for someone on Twitter or somewhere to say, hey, after the patch, I played it on a base Xbox One and it runs fine. And then I will go play Sable and probably fall in love. I'm very much looking forward to that. But I have one interesting game.
Oh, good show.
One interesting game, and it is my most collectible game, most valuable and everything. Cuphead.
I really want a physical Cuphead.
So this isn't a physical Cuphead.
Oh,
this is one of those code in a case things. So
like
this is sealed, but inside it's just a digital code, and it's got a bonus art cell.
I don't like that.
But I played Cuphead. Actually, I did play it originally on Xbox because I think wasn't it an Xbox exclusive initially?
Yeah.
But I played it on Xbox. I bought it and played it there, and then I always just am like, I just want a physical representation of a game I like sitting on the shelf. And I was walking through Best Buy one day, and they had these for $20. You could just buy like the case with the code, and I was like, sure.
The code.
So I grabbed it and I just threw it on there. Like, now I have a representation of Cuphead on my shelf. And just for some reason, I don't know if it's the art cell or it's just because Cuphead has still never gotten a physical release. But this goes for like $70 or so. People will buy this sealed case with just a code in it that may or may not even work anymore. It might be expired.
Yeah, no thanks.
But it is desirable. I wonder if more of these like code in a box things will become collectibles someday.
Ugh.
It's the world we're in.
I don't feel good about it. I like there to be the game. I'd rather just have the loose game than just an empty box. I can make a box at the house. I got a printer. We could do it. You know. Gosh.
Well, it wouldn't be a fish. So.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see. Yeah, Cuphead was great. People in the chat are loving the Cuphead. I love the Cuphead. It was fun. Again,
it's so good.
Game Pass, dude. You got just to get it. What are you doing? I have Game Pass, and I haven't played an Xbox One game in 3 years, but I still have Game Pass. I refuse to let it go. It's too good. All right. Okay. Do we need a break? It's the top of the hour, Steve. Do you need to go wring your bandana out or anything, or are you good?
I'm feeling good. I got my pizza. I've got my San Pellegrino. I'm all set.
Okay. I don't know what that last thing was, but it sounds delicious. I'll say that. Okay. Oh boy. What do we have left?
You know what? We've got some. Tell you what. Do you want to see some Vectrex or some Tapwave Zodiac?
Let's see.
I'm gonna let you choose, and that's a question for Trav and for the chat.
Maybe
you want to see some Vectrex?
Chat. What do you want to see?
Tapwave Zodiac.
The Vectrex or the Tapwave Zodiac? Really, it will just take one response. It's not a democracy. The first person to say anything will decide.
That's how chat works.
Yeah. You speak for everyone if you speak at all.
Mm-hmm.
How's that pizza?
Oh my gosh, dude, it's so good.
Homemade?
Pizza when you haven't eaten. Oh no, it's from a local place.
Oh.
I think it's local. Do you have Rocco's in your area?
No. I had pizza today too, but I had Domino's. You have Domino's in your area?
Never heard of Domino's. Was it
Domino's? Vectrex.
I convinced.
Top Spot says Vectrex. Mook almost got in there with both, but there will be both.
There'll be both. You're just choosing what's first.
Vectrex, whip them out. Hold them up. Hold one up in each hand.
All right, hang on. Where did I set my stack of Vectrex?
Did you send me Vectrex media? Hold on, let me.
So I'm not gonna pull one out because there's been a secret Vectrex here the whole time.
Yeah, well, I have a spot
right there.
Well, here we go. I've got your
right
pictures
there.
of the two Vectri that you own. Yeah, you have two.
Yes.
Tell us the story. Why do you have two Vectri? What are you doing? You don't need to. You can't land.
Because I'm greedy. No, it's so I wanted a Vectrex for many, many years. You can see one of them's a lot dirtier than the other one.
Yeah, that's the one I want. Will you sell that one to me for a reduced price?
That one will make sense in a minute.
Okay.
We'll talk about that Vectrex. I'm not shipping a Vectrex, but we'll talk about it.
I will come get it. If you give me some Rocco's pizza, I will come get it.
You can have some Rocco's pizza if you come here.
We can meet in Dayton, Ohio. That's about halfway, I think. Probably not. I just made that up.
I don't know what the incentive for me is to drive halfway to Virginia to give you pizza and a Vectrex.
Huh.
But
I thought I almost had
I wanted one for many, many years, and I hemmed and hawed. You know, it's kind of nerve-wracking buying one online. I mean, this was back in the mid-2010s. And finally I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm buying one. I popped on one on eBay after literally years of debating. Mm-hmm. Got one shipped, showed up, and then out of nowhere, within a week of ordering that Vectrex, I went to a thrift store, and sitting in the TV section of a thrift store for $10 was a Vectrex.
Oh, $10?
And so I scooped that puppy up for $10, but I didn't want to return the one I already got because I don't want to ship a Vectrex back. That sounds like a nightmare.
No.
So I have just kind of had a backup Vectrex for a long, long time. In fact, I usually play on the backup. The one that's sitting here, spoilers, I don't usually take it down. And when I want to play Vectrex, I pull the one out of the closet and I play that one because it's easier to get to.
Interesting. You know what? I think having a backup Vectrex is not that bad of an idea if you're really into it, because those things aren't going to last forever, you know?
No, they all have the problem where the audio buzzes really loudly. I don't know if you've ever played a Vectrex, but you turn that thing on, and most of them, it's just this loud, just this horrible humming sound.
Oh, wow. Can you try it? Can you do it again?
Wow.
That is annoying.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Just like that.
Great. Well, I'm showing your games here, though, and all CIB, I wouldn't expect anything less from you.
Yeah, they're all complete. They all have the overlays inside. In fact, I don't need to show all of them, but I can pull one out here. If you want to switch to the big boy cam.
Yeah, let's get it. Which one are you? What's full Steve here?
Yeah. So this is what a Vectrex box looks like. I gotta show you one that
That's bigger than I thought. That's huge.
It's head sized.
That's big.
That's a big boy.
That's a big box.
You'll see why in a sec.
Okay.
I gotta find one that fits my narrative. Okay. Here you go. A lot of my Vectrex boxes have like stickers on them that say like special, only a few dollars.
I love that stuff.
I do too. I think it's
great.
Man. But if you've never seen a Vectrex game, one, this is what the cart looks like. So you're like, wow, that sure is a big box for a cart that size.
Yeah, what is this going on? Switch? What are you doing?
But all of them come with these overlays. So if you pull it out of its sleeve here, this colored overlay.
Of course. Yeah, I should have known. Okay, great.
And you clip it right in.
Clip it. My goodness.
And then it colors the vector graphics. It's pretty awesome.
You gotta love it. Now that one over there is not plugged in. Yeah, you can't get that going.
No, not plugged in. I can't fire it up, sadly. And also, a Vectrex does not look as good on camera as it does in real life.
I bet.
If you've ever seen a Vectrex in real life, oh my god, that thing is buttery smooth. Yeah. So good, beautiful screen, but it doesn't translate as well to video.
That's a bummer. I have played one at like MagFest or something, but they're pretty neat.
Yeah.
Pretty neat.
TopSpot says you can mod out the humming if you want. TopSpot, why would I open up my Vectrex and then mess up a mod in order to have a broken Vectrex? That sounds like a nightmare. I'm more on Team Burger that the humming is part of the experience. You need to hear it running like an old car.
When it does crap out, you can take the guts out of the Vectrex and wear it over your head for Halloween, because I know how you do.
Yeah, we skin that Vectrex and we just wrap it down around our noggin.
That's right. Polykill podcast, folks, out every other Tuesday. That's it.
That's good stuff.
Or go to polymedianetwork.com. Gotta get a plug in here. Cool. So let me go back to the picture of the games, because talk us through some of the is there any that you like? Have you played them all? What's going on with these?
Yeah, so I mean they're all good. They're all pretty fun. They're all arcade score chasey type games, right? So none of these are going to be ones that you put like hours and hours and hours into. But of the ones I've played, there are some that are like sort of beatable and pretty awesome. The one that is on the very top right, Fortress of Narzad, that one's pretty cool. The idea is that there's like an evil wizard attacking you, and it's structured similar to Donkey Kong, where there are 4 distinct levels that just cycle over and over and over again. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 in a score chase. But the idea is that you're like pushing up this hill against all these like magical creatures and enemies, and then you get to the top into the fortress of Narzad and you fight like a boss level boss character, and then you go back to the beginning and you do it all over again. But that one is pretty dang fun. Also, if you happen to somehow be in a place where you have 2 Vectrex controllers and plug them both in, Space Wars is pretty cool. It's basically like competitive multiplayer asteroids, and then in the center of the screen there's a sun, and you can adjust the level of gravity that the sun has, and so
that's cool.
You're trying to fly your ship around and like sling around the sun and fire bullets at each other. It's pretty dang cool.
That does sound neat. A lot more to those games than I would have expected for the time that it came out to have, especially for some of them to have endings. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah, and Vectrex is one of those few systems where I would eventually like to have the full set of games, just because they're all so interesting that I'm not going to pick and choose. I'll take any Vectrex game I can get.
Yeah, no doubt. It's good to see TopSpot and Burger Champ chatting, because I always thought that those two guys would get along great. And there they are, chatting it up from the same cloth. Those guys, you don't want to get in the same Discord with them. Couldn't get in word in edgewise with them. You know what I mean? Let's look at...
Too true.
What do you think about looking at some Odyssey bullshit? You know? You want to do that?
I love it. Love it.
Right. Let's do it. Let me switch over to... I don't know what I have pictures of. Well, I do have some... Here we go. Here's some pics. That's my crumpled Odyssey boxes. Those things don't... They're like the Genesis cardboard boxes, where it's like if you just look at them funny, they scrunch up a little bit. And you're like, whoa, dude. Keep your structure. What are you doing? these are kind of like that. You just can't keep them whole, and they're old as hell. So what do you expect? But those are the boxed ones that I have, and the boxes are some of them are in better shape than others, of course. And then look over here at these videos, and these are my loose ones. So I have a fair amount of Odyssey 2 games. I think there's only about 50 in the entire library. So it is one of those where it's like almost feasible to get the full set if you were a crazy person and you were just into getting full sets of shit like we are. Yeah. It's possible. Let's see here. I have 19 total. And
so you're almost halfway done.
Yeah, we're about halfway done. Sure. Let me see here. I was going to look up. See, yeah. So the most expensive one only goes for a little over 100. Is that complete? No, that's not complete. Complete, it's about 350. But still, that's if you really put your heart in it, you could do it. Now, I don't like the Odyssey.
Is that one in Atlantis or Atlantis 2?
No,
is that what the expensive one is?
You might be thinking of maybe the 2600 or something. This is Power Lords. Atlantis is $48 on this, by the way. Well, that's loose. 100 complete. Power Lords would be the highly sought after one there. So anyway, going back to here, maybe even to here. I did bring it in case folks have never seen one. I brought it with me. And let's see. So the thing about the Odyssey 2, a lot of old consoles in the day were like this, of course, but there's nothing that you can unplug from it. All of the cords are just on it, like your power, the thing to the TV, and your controllers are all hardwired right in the back. So it's a real pain in the ass, to be honest with you. It's just evil spaghetti behind your TV, and the controller cords. I don't like that the controller cords are hardwired in. Because when they're this like flat cable kind of stuff, that's it just doesn't. It's not great. Okay, and then you got at least the joystick is 8-way. That's kind of nice. It actually feels pretty good. It's pretty firm. Button feels pretty good. But another weird thing about it is that I have a few games for the Odyssey 2, and I've messed around, but there's a keyboard on the whole thing. Now you just don't use all that much. In fact, I haven't found a use for it yet, to be honest with you. But there's a whole keyboard, and you can type on it, and it'll make noises, but that's about it. So, yeah, there you go.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever actually played an Odyssey 2. That's very cool. Sorry if you mentioned this, but what was your history with this one? Is this one that you had back in the day?
No. I was just kind of curious and saw a good deal. Got it. Boxed in a store for like $30, and it came with a bunch of the games that I showed there. And I figured, hey, why not add more junk to my game room? And plus, I like that box. That's just that's a good box, It's of a time, right?
I like the art on. I like the art on all those cartridges too. It's just it's of a period.
It shows off some of the games too there on the side. And it's pretty rudimentary stuff. I mean, we're talking pretty basic stuff. So, but not bad, all said. A few of the games are pretty fun, actually. And I have one that has a bit of history that I thought I'd show. And there's actually a video game historian video that touches on this quite a bit. But there was a bit of a litigation battle between, I don't really know who's responsible for it. I guess Magnavox and Atari over this resembling Pac-Man a little too much. And they have sort of like old PC style boxes. You just open up the little flap and your game's in there and your manual's in here. And so it's kind of neat little packaging. I like it. It's a little plastic insert there. And they have handles on them so you can pull them out easy,
I hate when games don't have handles.
Well, like you ever get some of those Genesis games that get real down in there and you have to you don't want to like put your thumb on the art to get it out. But sometimes it's hard. This is nice because you can just put your foot on the keyboard of the Odyssey and just yank on the handle and get that sumbee right out of there nice and clean. It's like getting a tooth. So, not bad. But yeah, Casey's Crazy Chase has some interesting history because it is very much like Pac-Man. I don't remember how the case turned out. You'll have to watch Norm Caruso's video to get the skinny on how that ended up. I forget, but I think nothing happened. To be honest with you, I think it's. You can still buy it and play it. So, okay, that was the
cool.
Odyssey 2.
Hypothetical for you.
Sure,
You're at a
sure,
game store
sure.
and they've got some Odyssey2 carts, or let's say boxed Odyssey2 games, $10 a piece.
Ooh.
Are you buying any of them those that you don't have, or are you picking and choosing?
$10 a piece. Ugh, that's a little too much for me. I've been getting these for like pennies. Like they almost have no value to me. I only will get them if they're like, you know, if it's a really good deal. I need a lot deal. I need to get like 10 for $10.
Okay. All right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think we have some Tapwave to talk about then, right?
Ooh, you know what though? I kind of want to go out on the Tapwave. Because what we got.
You want to end on the Tapwave?
I think everybody's here for the Tapwave. Isn't that other than my other console, that's all we have left, right?
I think everyone was here for Xbox, and
Wow.
they're probably long gone by now. I mean, the number still says people are watching and people are typing in chat, and they're all amazing people. But let's be real, they tuned out after the OG Xbox.
No. I think the Tapwave that's the closer. You put that guy in the ninth inning, you're up one. That's what you trust. The only reason I want to show this too is because it goes together. So this predates what I just showed. This is the Odyssey 300. There were a number. There's a number of these. There was the 200 and the 4. I cannot show shit on a camera. It's like looking into an upside down mirror. The Odyssey 300, and it's cool because it's yellow and it looks like that Transformer car. What was that one? Do you ever watch the Transformer? What was it called there? What's his name? Sunbeetle? What's his name there?
Sunbeetle, yeah.
Sunbeetle? The guy that turns into the big yellow thing there? Yep, that looks like him, right? It looks like Sunbeetle, the Transformer. And it's very limited. Now, I got this. This was super duper cheap. I got this for $10 on Mercari, boxed free shipping. Mercari, $10. Free
boxed
shipping.
Free shipping?
Boxed
that
free
dude
shipping.
lost money to send you this.
He lost money to see. He probably stole it, and the cops were coming, and he needed rid of it. I could not believe it. I think it was a mistake. But it came like pristinely boxed. Plastic. I mean, it's almost brand new. There's not a scuff on this thing, and it does work. Obviously, or I would have been really upset. Not really, because I paid $10. But this one is wild because there is no controllers. You have to have this on your lap, and you have to have a friend because most of the games are 2 players. So you share a lap, and you both grab a knob, and you go to town on 3 pack-in games that are just programmed into the system. You got yourself, let's see here. You got hockey, tennis, and Smash, which is basically Pong, and Pong. And then with the line in different places. And that's how you play the Odyssey 300. Pretty cool, though. Sunbeetle, the Transformer.
I like it. So, I'm not ashamed to admit, I'm pretty uneducated on the early, like, first and second gen consoles like this.
Uh-huh.
What's the difference between the numbered Odyssey? So I know there's 100, 200, 300, 400. Are they just different games that are built in?
Yeah, I think the 300 has I want to say, and I could be completely wrong, I'm winging it right here. I think the 100 is just for marketing, but I think it's the number of games on the system. So like 3 games. The first Odyssey I think was just Pong, and then I think the Odyssey 2, I don't know if there's a 200. You know what, I'm going to quit lying. I'm going to give it a quick Google. Let me give it a quick Google. But I do think it has something to do with how many games are on it, and I think there was an Odyssey 500, and then after that, I think they went away from the programmed-in games. No, I lied about everything. Everything I said was false, which is good. Good to know.
All right, good.
So do your own research later and pretend I didn't say anything.
All right, so I've learned that there are multiple Odyssey consoles. That's what we can definitely decide on.
There is, but I was right in that they went 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, and then they said, we're just going to make up our own numbers now. The next one was like the 4305. You know, why not just get wild and make up some new numbers?
Yeah, just go for it.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I've seen stacks of them in people's game rooms, but I never knew what they meant.
Yeah.
Pre-Nintendo, you're basically talking just gibberish to me. And I hate to admit it. I know we got some of these old console lovers in here. I'm sorry, you had to grow up in a certain era, or they're just a curiosity to you, I think.
Sure, I bet, you know, back in the day, you think about your TV back in the day was just Walter Cronkite and Gunsmoke. right? And that's all that was on it. And then someone was like, hey, I bought this box. It looks like the Sun Beetle Transformer. And someone corrected them. They're like, no, that's not his name. It's something else. But I can't remember what it is. We'll just keep going. And then they plugged it in. And they're like, holy shit, we can play hockey, tennis, and Smash on here?
Whew.
And that became a family affair for a long time. Like, they couldn't get Walter Cronkite off the TV fast enough to get that plugged in and get to playing after dinner. And that probably created a lot of memories. But then 100 years later, you and I are born, and we're showed this, and we're like, this is awful. I've had more fun eating rocks. But back in the day, it was novel. It was fun for them, and I understand that completely.
Yeah, for sure. And we've talked about this on Polykill, but I do think it would be fun to, do a stream or something where just, you plug in, like, let's say the 2600, because that's the one that I have. Plop in a game and be like, I'm going to give this a solid hour and a half and see what I can do. Like legitimately try to score chase, learn the ins and outs of this games, and not treat it as just like a 3-minute throwaway curiosity. I think I'm probably undervaluing a lot of these things because I haven't really done that.
Yeah, I feel the same way. There have been a few of those that I plugged in, 2600 specifically, where on the surface, I wrote it off because I was like, this is dumb. It sounds awful, and I don't know what I'm doing. But then, after like 20 minutes, I can't stop playing it because I'm like, well, I think I can get a higher score on this stupid thing. And even though I don't know what I'm doing. Like, Yars' Revenge was one I kind of discovered on my own, and I didn't realize that it was a popular game after I had already, like, played it for 4 hours straight, and then I Googled it and was like, oh, everyone else already knows. But but that's one that I love, and so you never know what kind of experience you can have with some of those games. It's could be a surprise to you. Okay.
Heck yeah. Yars' Revenge, the original Flappy Bird.
Is that right?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's, speaking of Flappy Birds, why don't you whip out your Tapwave Zodiac?
All right. I'm going to show you my whole collection for the Zodiac.
Oh, man.
Because spoilers, it's only 3 games.
Oh, my gosh.
And that's like half the library that exists. So
Bumblebee,
first off, here's a console.
It's Bumblebee, by the way. Mr. Mullet has corrected me. It is not Sundance or whatever I was saying.
No, that's what Mr. Mullet's saying. Hi, Mr. Mullet, by the way. But I think he's wrong, and I think it is Sun Beetle.
Sun Beetle, the Transformer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you've never seen it, here's a Tapwave Zodiac. This was a like Palm Pilot PDA / game console, or rather just like a PDA that plays games. I'll take it out for you.
Please.
Because it's fun to look at these things.
Now, tell me, did you buy this brand new?
I didn't buy this when it came out, but I bought it on eBay later on.
Okay.
But I bought it because I happened across one of the games in a thrift store. And then I was like, well, I got to have the console. Take it out of its plastic wrapping there. Ah. So here's the console itself. This is it. It's got a screen protector on it right now, but we can whip up that.
Ooh.
I can't power it on because my unit, it has an internal battery which has long since died, so it can't hold a charge. And so I have to, when I play the Zodiac, I have to keep it constantly plugged into the charger and tethered to a wall at all times.
My game console.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to take the Tapwave Zodiac on a long car ride. That's fine. But yeah, it's got a little joystick, it's got some buttons. We've got the magnetic stylus on the back here. Ooh.
Oh.
I'm playing Tapwave Zodiac.
Oh. Now, tell me something. I looked into this a little bit, and I saw that there is a Tapwave Zodiac and a Tapwave Zodiac 2. And I want to say you have the 2. Is this right?
I do. I don't know all the specific differences. I think the 2 is just like the refined, slightly more compact model. I want to say it's like the Lynx and the Lynx 2. But as far as I know, there's no difference between the games they can run. And the games themselves aren't labeled Zodiac 2. So.
Oh, well, yeah.
This is the most vaporwave console box you've ever seen. You would never know that this was a console, right?
I know.
This is something that you bought at Circuit City, and
your dad got it.
Clearance, yeah, $9.99.
Yeah, your dad got it during tax season because he's like, I'm doing it right this year. And we're going to get the taxes in.
He wanted a BlackBerry. They didn't have any BlackBerries, but the guy sold him on this.
Yeah.
And so he came home and he bought the family Tapwave. Do you remember sitting around the fire playing the family Tapwave back in the day?
Yes. It was a natural progression from the Odyssey 300. I wanted to answer Tops, but yes, my Odyssey does have audio. It does bleep and bloop, as you described. A lot of bleeping, a lot of blooping. So,
do I have a Game Park 32? I don't have a Game Park 32. I'm not even familiar with the Game Park 32.
What is the game? You have to have a Game Park 32. Steven.
My collection is incomplete. It's incomplete. Batteries Plus claims they can make batteries for that. I mean, man, a lot of people in this chat are a lot more motivated to fix things than I am. I just put up with the problems.
Plug it into a
I'm
wall.
not about to.
Yeah. We're not taking.
Not
it
about
through,
to bring my
customs.
Tapwave in and be like, hey,
Yeah.
like 19-year-old at Batteries Plus, I need a battery for the Zodiac 2. I'm just gonna plug it into the wall. But the graphics on a Tapwave are like, I would say that they're slightly less mature than PSP.
Oh.
Like,
well, that's
imagine
not terrible.
roughly PSP, but with a worse like frame rate and performance. But generally similar. So I've got 3 games. Again, Tapwave weirdly had ports of stuff that you would know.
Okay.
So this is the only game that I've ever beaten on Tapwave. This is Spy Hunter.
Was that this year?
That was this year. That was for our challenge.
Okay.
And these, you'll look, they're just SD cards. Like they just are little SD cards in there.
Oh wow.
And you plug them in and they run the games. And so we managed to beat that. My other 2, and this is the one that I found at the thrift store, and I have not ever popped it in because it's still sealed and I don't have the heart to open it. We've got the port of Tony Hawk 4.
Oh
yes.
man.
Tony Hawk 4 on the Zodiac.
Now those sealed Zodiac
Factory
games.
Sealed.
Oh man, I bet that is
Just waiting for those submissions to open, and we'll grade these puppies, and I'll never work a day in my life.
I can't wait for that.
Mm-hmm. And then the exclusive here is a bundle that I didn't realize I was buying new, but I'll probably pop open and play at some point. It's called Zpac Adventure. There's 2 of these. The other one is it's like Zpac RPG or something. Zpac Action. It's a red Zpac. And these are collections of games. So this has Galactic Realms and Legacy, which is like kind of like an RPG looking sort of deal.
Yeah.
And then the other one has some more action-oriented games. So this one is the one I'm like actually pretty pumped to
What's that sticker?
to pop
Does the
in and
sticker
play.
have a price on it, or just a date of?
No, just a date. Comp USA 2004.
Man, I had just turned a brisk 19, ready to tackle the world, wondering where my Zodiac was. Didn't get one that year. Ugh.
Yeah, pretty dang cool. And so you also can get a port of Duke Nukem on Tapwave. Like I said, there's that other Zpac game, and there's 1 or 2 others. I think there might be a Doom port. I'm not sure,
I
but
think there is. Yeah.
The full library is like 8 games or something, or like 10
all?
games. So
Really,
as far as I know,
interesting.
so very, very doable. They don't ever come up, and it's one of those things where when someone does put up a Zodiac game, buy it now, they usually put it up for a ridiculous price. Because they know that there's like only one. There's me out in the world looking for them, and that's it. They hold me hostage. But if one ever goes up on auction, you can usually get them for pretty low. Because who's looking for Tapwave Zodiac stuff?
So I have a couple questions. Maybe you said it, and I was just blown away by the packaging. But when and how much was this for you?
The console?
Yeah. When did you pick it up, and how much did it go for?
Oh, dirt cheap. I don't know. I picked it up probably 4 or 5 years ago, maybe even more. No, I think it was more than that. But it was like $20 to get the console.
And what else does it do? Like, does it? I'm assuming it has other features, non-gaming.
It does any like PDA type stuff. So you can put music on it, photos on it. It's got like a calendar, and you can set appointments. Anything
Is
like
any of that neat? Like
address book.
Would anyone have bought that without the gaming component? Like, does it stand out in any way other than it having games?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's not remarkable, but people definitely would. Anybody, it's very similar to the N-Gage, where if you're not picky about the features of your phone, you'll be like, well, this is like a standard mobile phone of the era. Plus, it can play games. Why not? If you happen to be in the market for like a little personal planner where you could, do a little doodling and set people's birthdays in an era before Facebook and stuff, like, yeah, why not? Why not get the gaming one?
Huh. So another thing here is that, and I'm misreading this, but I'm on the Wikipedia, and it has a list of Zodiac exclusive titles, and then some ports. And I'm looking at a list of about 40 to 50 games.
Oh, maybe there's way more than I realized.
There may be. Now, maybe these are like download only or something. I don't know. Maybe there's a physical component I missed out on, but you can definitely, in terms of, well, it says Zodiac exclusive titles, but then it says things like Doom 2. Maybe it's a specific port, but that's where your Spy Hunter's listed, and your Tony Hawk. But there's also like a racing game and the Z-Pack stuff. So
there was a long retired, I think, digital marketplace or mechanism to buy digital games.
Maybe that's
so not all those are on physical card like the one I have.
Gotcha. Okay.
The physical cards I think are much more limited. Like I know that there's that other Z-Pack, I know there's Doom and Duke Nukem, and I know that there's like another racing game, but there may be a couple more than that I'm not aware of.
And it looks like there's a lot of folks using it as an emulation machine. You can get PSX games on there. You can get obviously your MAME, Neo Geo, Scum, ZX Spectrum, like that whole gamut. And then there are homebrew ports of Doom, Heretic, Hexen 2. It seems like a pretty versatile little system that if you're one to fiddle with stuff like that, a lot of people would. The Vita and the PSP were ripe for folks like that, right? They would.
Oh yeah,
do that stuff. But, you can get the most out of your Zodiac by doing that. That's pretty neat. How's the
Very
control?
Cool.
Control's pretty good. You like the buttons?
It plays pretty well. I'd say that the joystick is most similar to like a Vita joystick, so not like amazing, but serviceable.
I think you sent me a picture.
And the buttons, I mean, they're just like sort of soft, clicky buttons. Like they're not mind blowing, but they're better than like the GameCube D-pad or something. If I'm trying to think of like all time worst buttons, so it's all in all, it's totally serviceable.
Interesting.
It gets the job done, and mine still has the screen protector on it. I never took it off because I want to protect that Zodiac screen. Yeah. Although I did beat Spy Hunter, so
you don't want to replace the battery, but that screen must remain mint.
WG saying, trying to convince the wife to let you start a game room. Hey, any room that you tuck your Tapwave Zodiac games into is a game room. All right.
That's right. If you would like us to draft a letter, maybe shoot over your letterhead, or whatever. We'll see what we can do. Maybe we can help convince.
And get it notarized for you.
Yeah, we can get that notarized, and maybe I don't know how much weight we have, but we'll try. That's what we do. We have a whole division of Polykill just to convince significant others to let the listeners of the show start their own game room. So that's a service we provide to you as a listener. So whatever you need. All right, Steve. I think we've had this one was good. It was nice. It was sleek. I'm going to say this was a sleek collection.
Yeah, a tight 90, as the kids say.
Yeah, remember that first one? We were like, we're just going to show what was it, our Sony stuff, not realizing that's easily a fifth of our collection. It's almost shot over, but it's maybe a fifth. But still, that took all night. That was like 4 hours. It was like watching the Super Bowl with commercials and the halftime show. Like, it was long.
And people hung out.
They did, bless their hearts, and they were mad about it the next day. And I was like, you guys could leave. There's you look in the top right. There's a little X. You can pull the ripcord anytime. But bless them for hanging out with us there, Steve. Well, we can hang out for a little bit longer. I mean, if people just want to chat or whatever.
Yeah, if anyone's got any collections that they are disappointed weren't shown, any questions about the consoles we did show, any questions about the game room in general.
Yeah.
That's not Trav's game room, by the way. His game room is presumably more impressive, although I've never stood in it. He won't let me in.
I don't even have a picture of it because it's always in a... When I get... packages, all of the boxes come in here, and then when I have to show this, I move everything in there, and so we have this roaming pile of Amazon boxes that I'm like, I will use these to ship things one day, but I never ship anything. I'm just keeping those boxes and all those packing materials. You know, that's what happens.
You gotta ship some stuff, buddy.
I know.
Now, okay, let me ask you this.
Maybe I will.
Of every system we showed today, across all of them, what is one game for any of those systems that you most want? Like, what is the one that you desperately want to add to your collection for any Xbox or any of these weird systems?
I'm going to say I don't know that there is one, but a few come to mind, if I may.
Okay.
I want, and I think this is on the PS2 as well. I think both of these games are, but for the OG Xbox or the PS2, I'd like to have the Warriors, because I really like the movie. I hear the game's not too bad. And Obscure 2. You know?
That one I think is a little more affordable than the original, too. You might be able to actually...
I think you're right.
Sneak up and grab that one.
Yeah. Yeah, so those come to mind. You know, nothing on the 360, and it's honestly because I got the most out of it when I owned it. I think I played the 360 and the right amount, you know?
Yeah.
If there was a physical, and I don't know if there is, I wouldn't mind having a physical version of the Costume Quest games, if those exist. I like those a lot.
They exist on PS4. I don't know if they exist elsewhere.
And I still need the first Mass Effect and the first Gears. Those were ones that I borrowed when I played them, and now I have all the sequels except for the originals. But again, not to play. I've already played them, but it would just be to complete a trilogy or whatever. What about you? Where are you at?
I mean, I'm not going to say the Vectrex or Tapwave games, because both of those are systems where I'm just sort of like tacitly, inadvertently going for full collections just because the libraries are too small to pick and choose. But if we're talking Xbox stuff, I would say on the original Xbox, I'd like to get Stubbs the Zombie, which I don't have. Although that just got a Switch re-release, I think.
I wonder if the price goes down. Yeah.
Or Outrun 2 would be good too.
The Stubbs for me.
You want that Stubbs?
I do. I actually forgot I have a list of wanted games I could run down. I do want that. There's that group of games of an era. Like I have that 187 Ride or Die, and yeah, I do see that the Odyssey 300 launched at a pretty nice price. But I would like to have the Def Jam that you have, which is getting up there in price. Also, Death Row is another one that's kind of in that ilk, and there's a couple Evil Dead games, Fistful of Broomstick and Regeneration. I don't think they're good, but I just love the cover art, and I would play them even if they're not good. I don't care. You can't tell me what to do. Phantom Dust.
Ooh, good one. Good one.
And then because of Musty, I'm interested in playing Breakdown and Cyanide. I think you have Cyanide.
I do have Cyanide. Cyanide's pretty fun. Yeah. It's a little cheaper than I would expect. I always thought for a long time that Cyanide was going to be like one of the big boys of the Xbox, because it was a long time before I could track down a copy, and it was like $20-$30 at the time, but it was very few ever came up, which is sort of the recipe for like it to catch a little bit of a tailwind and suddenly become a $100 game.
Right.
But it's fun. It's good. Hey, if you want that Def Jam, I'll trade. You know what? You send me that Obscure, I'll send you that Def Jam. We'll both walk away happy. But
I don't. It's not going to happen. Looking at the 360 though, there are a few more that I want. I wouldn't mind having. And again, this could go for the PS3 as well, but the Fear trilogy.
Oh yeah, you know what? 360 or PS3. I'd like to get those two.
Yep. I also am. I played all three, but I would love, and I think I traded this back when I wasn't thinking about collecting. I traded away all the Dead Spaces. I think I only have 2 still, but I wouldn't mind having the trilogy there.
Oh yeah.
I think I'm lacking Halo 3 and Halo Wars, and I probably played them off of like Games with Gold or Game Pass. I don't remember, but there's a reason why a lot of these I don't have physical, even though I played them, because it was around the era, the digital era. So
I don't remember your list. Did you have that Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts?
I don't have that listed here, but you're saying it's good. Tell me all about why it's worth my time and money.
You can build cars and name them whatever you want, and then you get to do fun challenges with the silly cars that you built, and you can name them whatever you want. It's so good. It's like a platformer meets Legos. You can like build the device to achieve what you want. So there'll be like a Jiggy that's just like 20 feet above a ramp, and you can try to build a car that functions like a helicopter and fly up to it. Okay. You can build a car with like a giant spring and bounce up there. You can try to build like a fake rocket and shoot up to it. Oh, it's so fun. It captures just enough 3D collectathon energy while being its own thing. It's very good. I'd also say another game that you need to get is Viva Pinata if you don't have that.
I don't. So you're saying one of the funner parts of the nuts and bolts is just naming stuff. You said that 3 times. Like that was Are you just into naming stuff? Is that when you're?
Actually, no. I usually hate that. But...
Oh, what are some of the cars that you've named? What are some fun ones? Do you have any that you recall?
We had a car
Steve
that had
wagon. Do you have an REO Steve wagon?
No. That's a good name though. I'm trying to remember any classics that I had.
You got a Sun Beetle?
There was a car that was a bathtub with wheels on it, and we called it the Newt Snugger.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Newt Snugger?
I don't think we can say that.
That's not okay on YouTube.
I don't know what it was that you said. I'm scared.
It's just sometimes you got to scrub some of your more intimate bits in the bathtub, and you need a vehicle that can accommodate.
Okay, I'm kind of following now. Okay, scrubber. You're saying. Interesting. So I'm assuming that you, like me, probably don't want anything else physical for the Xbox One, and I'm going to blame Game Pass.
Yeah. Let me take a look at my wish list. I don't think that's entirely true, but mostly true. I think the only game that I still want physical is Halo 5 Guardians. I wouldn't mind getting Guitar Hero Live.
But the Halo just to round out the collection, right? You've already got the rest of them. I wouldn't mind doing that for Gears as well, to be honest with you. I'm a huge Gears fan, so that makes sense to me. And again, I got them all digital. It seems silly, but at the same time, we're infected with this need for tactile plastic and art that we didn't make on it.
I mean, I think you should get Cuphead. Get that code in the box, buddy.
I don't like the code in the box. I don't like the code in the box. That feels like an IOU. I want a Cuphead thing I can put into a machine, and then the Cuphead plays because I have that thing. Even though that's probably just has a code on it most of the time anyway. But still, I want the physical. I want a disc or something. It's on the Switch. I can get it there.
Most of the time, you don't notice. You just walk past it on the shelf, and you just Cuphead. Love that.
Sure.
It's not like you're gonna pull it down and play it again.
I might. It's good. I might. Need more Cuphead.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
I'm sure.
We have 2 Calebs, and they messaged back to back. We have Caleb H, and then we have one Caleb Plays Games. Who I wonder where he got that idea.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably from someone handsome. And I agree. Rare Replay is maybe the craziest value you can get. It's up there with like the Ultimate Genesis collections and stuff. It's just like an absurdly good deal.
Yeah, it really is. I especially like that you can rewind and replay things, because that's the only way I've seen the 3rd stage of Battletoads. So, thank you, Rare Replay, for
even with that function, I've never seen the 3rd stage of Battletoads.
With that function, I still didn't beat the game trying to. I got to a spot where the 30-second rewind would not bail me out of the mistakes I'd made leading up to that point. So,
you hate to see it. That's true.
You do. And I'm not even a huge fan of that game to begin with, but now it's personal, so one day. One day, Steve. Well, we had some questions here. We put them on the screen. No one answered them. What's your Halloween plans, folks? What's your best costume ever? We got to know. What's going on? Steve was a skinned minion. He's going to be a skinned Vectrex one day. I was my own cat and zombie Elvis.
Yeah, what are those top tier Halloween costumes? Dean, you'd love to see an episode on the memorabilia? I'm sure we could do something like that. I don't know. I feel like I have more of a memorabilia sickness than Trav does, but
I bet we could. If you combined our memorabilia together, it makes Dean's collection look like nothing. I bet.
Amateur hour.
Amateur hour with Dean. What's he got? Like 8 figures tops?
Maybe. Does that dude even have any first 4 figures? I don't.
Let's see. The lanyards behind. Yeah, those are lanyards. Those are part of my figures. Yeah. It's my memorabilia. Of me. They're all my lanyards from various work conferences. It's my name over and over and over again laminated. And I collect that. You ever collect your name laminated, Steve? Good.
I don't think I have any lanyards that have my name on it.
Oh, really? You should get into it, man. It's great.
Seems vain. Seems vain.
No, you just look at all of them over there. My name on them. Most of the time spelled right. I have an easy name.
Is it from work conventions or gaming conventions? How'd those come about?
Just work. This became my work office. I changed jobs and worked from home, so all of that looked like a 15-year-old boy's wet dream had to convert into a professional-looking area. So I had all those from work. So that's what's there now. Yay!
Womp womp. Well, you know what? I'm actually going to a work conference in like 2 weeks, so maybe I'll get a lanyard and I can flex it. In our next video, you'll be like, "Oh, here's all my NES games," and I'll be like, "Whoa! Look at this lanyard! Look at this lanyard!"
Yeah, where you going? You going to Dayton? I'll meet you.
We're going to Miami, I think.
Whoa! That's further away from me than you are now. I think that's not going to work. How about I go get this Vectrex and this Rocco's Pizza?
Well, you know what? Drive on down to Miami, and you can come get it. I'll check that thing on the flight.
I'll meet you in Beaufort, South Carolina. How about that? That work? Do a little halfway.
Why don't you head there, and then if I show up, great.
Come on.
We'll see.
Come on. How's the new job, by the way? It's good because it's not the old job. That's all I can say so far. That's like a cop-out answer, but I'm too early to know. But it's good. I don't have to write like 200-page reports every week, so that's good. I like that. Smash Mouth travel picture. Travis picture. I think I'm not getting it. Steve, your favorite band's Smash Mouth, is that right?
Isn't everybody's?
They have that song, Might As Well Be Walking on the Sun Beetle.
I love any band that is prominently featured in Shrek.
Is that right? That's you?
That's my one criteria for music that I listen to. You're in a bar, you're hanging out, and you're like, "Hey, can you put on anything from the Shrek soundtrack?"
And people, they don't even have to look at their phones and look that up. They know right away what is, by memory, everything on those soundtracks. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they know. I mean, who doesn't know the Shrek soundtrack by heart? I mean, come on.
What else is on there? Do we know?
Don't call me on it. We got Smash Mouth. We got some other bands, some good other bands.
Let's see. We got was Smash Mouth? Oh yeah, there they are. I'm a Believer. Yeah. I don't recognize any of these. Well, the Proclaimers, I'm on My Way was on there. The Eels were on there. The Baha Men. But then the rest of them I don't recognize. From the first movie. I'm sure the second and third probably got all the star power. I mean, you had Timberlake in there, right?
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. Eddie Murphy does a version of "I'm a Believer" on there.
Isn't there a Hallelujah cover? I don't know. Is there?
There is, by Rufus Wainwright.
Oh.
Oh, and see, now the second one, that's where you get your Counting Crows, your David Bowie, more Eels. You get Tom Waits, which gets Caleb J. Ross going, Nick Cave, Pete Yorn. Who doesn't love Pete Yorn? Dashboard Confessional. We've all confessed to our dashboards, am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I have to look up the third one just because why stop now? Paul McCartney. Fergie did a cover of Barracuda.
Barracuda by Heart?
Yeah, I guess. It's a song called Barracuda by Fergie. I don't know if it's... I'm assuming. Maya Rudolph? Interesting. Macy Gray. Harry Chapin. Big Cats in the Cradle. Man, what a good... Immigrant Songs in there. What a good soundtrack. You're thinking Shrek the Third is the pinnacle, in my opinion, in terms of soundtracks. You mean you don't have Smash Mouth, but... Who needs them?
Do you even need it at that point? I mean,
don't.
come on.
You don't. Oh, Burger Champ just threw up. I'm sorry, buddy. We're just having fun. Steve, this has been a good night. Thanks for hopping on here after that interstate travel that you had to do from your vacation spot in Wisconsin. Did you get some cheese?
Wisconsin. No, I almost did, but I ended up not. I got a lot of bubble tea. I got a lot of Thai food and
Wisconsin's
oatmeal.
Known for that, right?
That's mostly what I ate. Yeah.
Wisconsin, known for the Thai food. I hear it's
it's amazing.
You can't get that in the Twin Cities.
The best Thai food I've ever had is in Madison.
Man, I'm gonna have to go. You're talking it up.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again for joining. No, neither of us have the fizz dishes of the Shrek soundtracks. My gosh, and if we did, I don't think we'd admit it.
I'd let you know.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do a whole Shrek. There's Shrek games. You probably have a Shrek game, right? And then that whole collection. There's gotta be one.
I don't think I do.
Really?
Let's see.
You only have one Shrek game.
I try to have taste. Nope, not a Shrek game in the collection.
Me neither.
Not a one.
Yeah. Huh. We dodged that one. Do you have any Mary-Kate and Ashley?
Nope, no Mary-Kate and Ashley.
Man, we're both dodging some.
No
big,
Land Before Time.
Some big GBA era bullets. Oh, I do have some Land Before Time. Those games are fantastic. I'm telling you. My daughter's going to love them one day. I've already proofed them for her. They're appropriate. Well, thank you, everyone, for hanging out, especially you eventual nits. I would love to have a pizza door in my house. I don't know how you... Like a chain. So you just pull on the chain and the pizza shows up.
Yeah, we call it the pizza chain.
But, so, real quick, and I know we're about to leave.
Don't know where the pizza comes from, but don't ask questions.
So when does it get hot? Like, do you pull it and it shows up hot? Or when you pull the chain, it's like, now there's a timer and the pizza will give you
hot and ready every time.
Wow. I've got to talk to a contractor. Okay, well, thank you, everyone who was in here chatting about. You made it fun for us. Hopefully we made it fun for you. Chris Hodge coming in. The Hodgemeister.
Thanks, Hodge.
Heck yeah, man.
Appreciate it.
Nintendo Hodge. Gotta see that guy's license plate. That's what I live for. Gotta get Nintendo somewhere in my license plate. All right. Well, we're out of here. So until next time, which will be a Tuesday from now, we'll talk to you then. See you guys.
Heck yeah.
How do you stop this thing, Steve?